Good morning, everyone. It is Brenda here for Simplicity, and welcome to Fun Friday. All right, so today I've got a really great tip for you, and it all involves bulk stamping and die cutting. So I don't know about you, but like when I have to make cards, I like to do them in bulk. All right, I like to have that same design available because, first, usually when I do something and I design it and I love it, I want to make more of that same design. And second, I love like at Christmas time when I have the same design, giving everyone the same card. So this way they don't get mad that Susie got the nice layered floral one and David got the plain one. All right. I don't want any of that. I always like to have consistency across the board. That is how I work. So when I do bulk designing and creating. And when there is a sentiment that you need to stamp and then die cut, it becomes very overwhelming. It's a lot of stamping and die cutting, especially when you're doing 50 to 100 cards. Like for Christmas. So I wanted to share this technique, and we do it for our class prep, and it just makes life so much easier. All right. So let's just kind of backtrack here. So what I mean is when you have something where you want to use a sentiment from one of your stamp sets. All right, so I'm going to use this one. This was on my desk. We just finished up a class using this, and we used a bunch of these ones here. And when you're prepping for 30, 40 class kits, it can get a little overwhelming, especially when you have to do multiples. And I made it really easy to do with this tip I'm going to share with you today. So I'm going to be using a couple of these stamps, all right? And then of course, we want to die cut them for our cards, all right? So, and it seems a real tedious that you've got to stamp first and then line up the die over top, and it becomes a long process. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to do both ways and show you how much easier it is the way I like to do it. All right. So let's just say I want to do this one here, wishing you a patchwork of happiness on your birthday. And then I'm also going to grab another one because I wanted to just show you, um, well, we might as well just do the one right underneath it, piecing a little hello together just for you. All right. So typically, when we would want a stamp sentiment and a and then die cut it, we would grab, oh, I didn't grab no paper, silly me. All right, I got this little scrap here. Okay, so I have a little scrap piece of paper. So typically then we would line them up on our paper, making sure we have enough space to die cut around. All right, so we've got that lined up. I'm going to move that just a little bit down so we have enough space for die cutting. Okay, so we would go ahead and stamp magnets everywhere. We would go ahead and stamp this. Okay, so this is not my tip. This is just kind of what we typically will do. All right, we're going to stamp our sentiment. So let me just ink up my stamps here. So this is what not to do if you're doing bulk. All right. So I'm going to show you what not to do first. All right. So we're stamping this. I'm going to stamp it better because I do want to use these. Don't want to waste. And that's the beauty of having a stamping platform that you can just realign and hopefully all will be well. Sorry, I'm really shaking the camera today. I really need to fix my, all right. So there it is that. All right. So there's my two sentiments all stamped. And then if you want to die cut them, now you need to get the die cuts and then you have to line them up. And especially if you don't have a magnetic plate, um, it can be a little troublesome. So I'm going to grab. All right, so now I'm going to go in and get some tape and tape this so it doesn't move. And this is where it becomes very cumbersome, right? Very. All right, so that's the first one. And then let's just see. This is the other one, so I need some more tape. Oops, that's not even the right one. Let's try to find the right. All right, maybe this is the right one. I think this is the right one. Yes. Okay. All right, so let's tape this one down. All right, and let's run this through my die cut machine. Okay, so that was a pretty lengthy process for just two little verses, or two little sentiments. Um, a lot of lining up, making sure you have enough space for die cutting, um, taping. All right, so there are my lovely sentiments. All right. Okay, so that's what not to do. All right. I'm going to show you now what I like to do. And this really pertains to when I do bulk. So let me just take my dies here and let me show you what I do. All right, so instead of stamping and then die cutting, all right, so we stamped first and then aligned our die over top. I do the opposite. I die cut first. All right. And this is where scraps will come in handy because now I am not concerned. Will that one fit? Yes, it will. I am not concerned on how these dies work on the paper. All right. So let me just get this in camera view here. Um, I'll bring this. All right. So I am using my scrap white piece of paper and I'm sticking my dies that will match my coordinating sentiments. And this way I can really paper save as well because now I can get those dies really close together. And these are not stamped. We are just die cutting the bases. All right. We are just die cutting the shapes. And then this goes really quickly because you can die cut really quick these because there's no lining up. All right. So there's my first set, and I'm going to do it again. Sorry if I'm not in camera, but I'm doing the same thing. I'm just placing that on that scrap piece of paper, and I don't even have to worry about taping them down or anything. I'm just placing them on and die cutting. All right, so now we have 4 of these. All right, I'm just going to do 4, but usually, I would just die cut like a bunch of them, like even 20 of them. All right, so there is that. So now we have all these little die cuts that are blank, all right? This is where the stamp set's going to come in handy. All right, so what you need to do is create a jig, all right? So I will typically use a piece of cardstock. Now I'm going to go ahead and use this one here that we used from our first, all right? So this is what I call a jig, okay? So you could do that out of the paper, but because I was paper saving, there's not a lot of space in between here. But anyways, I create a jig. I cut out of a scrap piece of paper the dies. Then I'm going to take that jig and I'm going to place that in my stamping platform. Okay, making sure it is aligned in the corner. I've got my magnets on there. And now all I have to do is take my die cuts and fit them in like a little puzzle piece. They're going to fit in there nicely. All right, just like so. And then I can line up my stamps. Actually, you know what? I'm going to line up my stamps first because I didn't clean off my stamps. One moment, please. Okay, so now I'm just going to get my stamps lined up in the little openings here first. All right. When you line up your stamps, it's going to have just a little bit of a border around it. All right. And we'll do both of them. So this is the only aligning you have to do. You only have to align it once. Okay, they're aligned. So now I'm going to pick them up. Now I can put my little puzzle pieces into place. Ink and stamp. Okay, if you did not get it lined up for the perfect stamping, then you're just going to go ahead and ink that again. And everything will line up because of that jig. Okay, beautiful. And then I just take these out. Having a pair of tweezers is going to be handy, but there we go. And then you're going to take the next one, place it in, and this is going to quicken up that whole process. All right. And you will have these stamped and die cut in no time because there's no like wasting time to align things. All right. And this is just perfect for, like I said, bulk sentiments or die cuts. that you need to do multiple times. All right, so now we go, and we're just going to keep on doing that. And in no time, you will have all of these completed, and it's a much quicker process of doing bulk stamping and die cutting. So again, die cut all your little sentiments outlines first, or your bases, then create your jig, line up your stamps, and then just go to it and stamp all of those. Fit them into the little openings and go ahead and stamp. So that's my little tip and technique for today for Fun Friday. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.